Welcome. My name is Mark Rabarge, and thank you for participating in the Tree of Illumination art project that will be installed in Sandy Spring Art Museum in late July. This is a participatory project in which I'm asking people to clean out a jar that normally you would throw away or perhaps recycle. We're going to repurpose that jar by cleaning it out, removing the label, and then collecting it at Sandy Spring Museum so that I can create the piece. Let me walk you through the steps of this process. It's really quite easy to remove the label from a jar. So there's basically three ways to try. The first way to try is to just see if you can peel the label right off. Some of the labels are made of a plastic material that really just pulls right off once you get it started, as you can see here. The next way, many paper labels are actually only glued in one spot on the jar. And so you can take them. This jar I just soaked for about 5 minutes in warm water, and really you just pull the label right off, and there's the glue residue on that one side. Now, if you get this glue residue there, don't worry about it. I'll take care of that when I collect the jars. This glue is often not water soluble, so I'll take care of that. The third way, you may get a jar that's a little more stubborn, and if that's the case, you want to soak that jar in hot water with 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and then you can take just a normal putty scraper or even a kitchen knife and just carefully work and scrape the label off as you see here. If you don't have a putty knife, a kitchen knife also works quite nicely. This is a little more work, so you have to use a little more elbow grease. And again, you can see that there's a residue left over. Don't worry, just get all the paper off. I'll take care of any residue that's left on the jar. So the idea behind cleaning the jars out is it's a symbol for that little extra effort that each of us needs to take for a clean environment, and is also a symbol of the work that individuals make that's contributes to a collaborative project like this. So once you've cleaned out your jar, you want to consider what the word illumination means to you. You could consider it in different ways. One way is you could consider a physical source of illumination, the sun, for example, or a light bulb. That'd be pretty easy. Or you could do something that's mental or psychological, or even an emotion that you feel is illuminating in that regard. Or you could do something in terms of society or culture, a form of illumination in that realm. Of course, you could consider the spiritual realm, enlightenment, or that sort of thing. And you could also consider a person, real or mythological, or even imaginary, that might personify illumination. Or, of course, you're welcome to come up with your own interpretation. But you can see here I've brainstormed a few ideas for words that might mean illumination to me. And so I'm going to choose one of those to put in my jar that I've cleaned out, and put the lid on the jar to keep everything together. Take it to Sandy Spring Museum at the drop-off box there, and then once all the jars are dropped off, I will be collecting them July 17th. So make sure that you have your jar there at Sandy Spring by then, please. And what will happen is I will bring the jars to my studio, and I'll paint the lids of all of the jars in an array of skin tones and earth tones to represent the diversity of our society. I'll also then inscribe your word on your jar to represent the word that you chose, so that will be part of the piece. I'll also then mount and affix some dyed rice paper to the inside of the jar that will capture the sunlight and become a seed of light once it is attached to the tree. And then, of course, once I cap them up and get everything sealed nice and tight so they're waterproof, you can see a few examples of how the piece might look, with the jars capturing the sunlight as if almost like the leaves on the tree in photosynthesis do. And the idea is that the piece will become the tree of illumination, where everybody's jar and word is part of the piece, which is meant to symbolize our connection to one another and to the earth. Thank you so much for participating in this project. Stay well and be safe.